Summer is here, so it's time to count down the top 10 best sneakers for summer 2023 that you can grab right now. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and this is my list of the top 10 best sneakers for summer 2023. Now obviously this list is just my own personal opinion. There are thousands of sneakers that you can run out to the store and grab right now and I'm sure they're all great, but these are just the sneakers that I handpicked because I think they're either very popular right now, they're really in fashion, or they're just great all around sneakers. Of course, if you want to grab any of the sneakers that I mentioned in today's video, I've made sure to leave links to all of those sneakers through the YouTube shopping tab at the top of your screen and through the links in the top of the description below. But without further ado, let's dive right into the list. Number 10, the Air Jordan 1 Low. So the Jordan 1 Low has been on my list pretty much every year that I've done the top 10 sneakers for summer lists because it's just a great all-around sneaker. As you guys know, the Jordan 1 is my favorite sneaker of all time, so a low-top version of the shoe not only is perfect for summer because it goes great with shorts, but also because it's a low-top of one of the best sneakers ever made, in my opinion. Now this particular version of the shoe is not a standard Air Jordan 1 Low, this is the AJ1KO Low, a new version of the shoe, but there are so many great Air Jordan 1 Lows out there that you can walk into like your local Foot Lockers or local sneaker stores right now and grab. Generally, Jordan 1s retail for between $110 to like $140 depending on the colorway that you're getting or the version of the shoe that you're getting. They're all good in my opinion. Obviously, there are some pairs that are worth more than others, like the Travis Scott Jordan 1 Lows, which while they sold for the same retail price as most other Air Jordan 1 Lows, they resell now for thousands of dollars, which is ridiculous, but if you're looking for hype, that's a good way to go. But the reason that I love the Jordan 1 Low in particular, besides the fact that it's just such a great shoe, is that it's such a clean, simple look. Not only are you buying one of the most iconic basketball sneakers of all time, but it comes in a ton of different colors, so no matter what you're looking for, the Air Jordan 1 will have you covered. Plus, if you're lucky and you walk into a store right when they release these shoes, you might be able to find a pair in a classic Air Jordan 1 colorway like the Black Toes that are releasing later this year. I know I only have the Air Jordan 1 Lows at this spot on the list, but realistically, you could fit in any of the other Jordan 1s like the mids or the highs, depending on which shoe you prefer. Personally, I think for summer, the Jordan 1 Low is a great way to go. It's a low top, which means you can wear it with short socks or long socks, depending on what you like. Whether it's shorts or long pants, you can pretty much get away with anything because this low top silhouette is so wearable. Speaking of socks, if you guys haven't yet checked out the sock brand that I co-founded, Apothecary, I definitely recommend doing that. We've got no-shows, we've got highs, we've got mids, we've got all the socks that you could ever need, and all of our socks are specifically designed to look great with your sneakers. We've got limited collections dropping all the time, like the Apothecary Was Here collection, which is dropping this Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on apothecary.com. And not only do our socks look great, but they also fit great because of our IsoWeave technology, which makes them super breathable and super comfortable for all day wear. So if you want to find a pair of socks to match your sneakers perfectly, I definitely recommend checking out Apothecary. There's a link in the description below. But seriously, the Jordan 1 Low is an amazing combination of both sneaker history and also classic looks. It's an easy sneaker to rock. It comes in a ton of different colors and different material types. So if you're looking for a suede Jordan 1 Low, you can find those, or an all leather pair, or even this all canvas Air Jordan 1 Low KO. I mean, the Jordan 1's been out since 1985, so no matter what you're looking for, you should be able to find it. You just might not be able to find it for the price that you want to find it for. And I know I put this shoe at number 10 on the list, but that does not mean it's the worst sneaker on the list. In fact, personally, I think the Jordan 1 is my favorite sneaker on the list, but I wanted to make the list sort of tailored towards 2023 and what's popular and what's more widely available, so that's why the shoe is number 10. But if you ask me, the Jordan 1 and even the Jordan 1 Low is one of the best sneakers ever made. Number 9, the New Balance 550. So like the Jordan 1 Low that we just talked about, the New Balance 550 is based off of a classic 80s basketball sneaker. And really, this shoe is pretty similar to the Jordan 1 Low. In fact, in my opinion, this is sort of the New Balance equivalent to that shoe. And the reason I put the 550 a little bit higher on the list than the Jordan 1 Lows is because this shoe is a little bit more widely available. Because you could walk into a sneaker store, find a couple different colorways of the 550s, and you might not be able to find that many colorways of the Jordan 1. So you probably will have more options with this shoe than with the Jordan 1 when it comes to color and style. That being said, over the last 2 or 3 years, the New Balance 550 has been one of the most popular sneakers on the market. In fact, this shoe has topped this list in previous years. For $110, you get a surprisingly good quality pair of sneakers from New Balance that's relatively comfortable and also looks amazing, at least in my opinion. The 550 is clean, classic, with surprisingly decent material quality, and it's incredibly wearable, especially for summer. I feel like low tops in general are like the perfect summer shoe because you can wear them with shorts, you can wear them with long pants, it doesn't really matter. You're good to go with a pair of low tops, and the 550 is one of my favorite low tops from New Balance. Not only that, like with the Air Jordan 1, there are a couple collaborations on the New Balance 550 silhouette, like this particular shoe. This is the ALD collaboration, which is probably one of the more hyped up pairs of 550s. So whether you're trying to grab just an everyday pair to knock around, you don't really care if it gets messed up, or you're trying to grab a super hyped up pair of New Balance 550s, you can find both in the 550 silhouette. Number 8, the Air Force 1 Low. Outside of the Jordan 1s, and maybe even more so than the Jordan 1s, the Nike Air Force 1 Low is the most classic and probably the oldest shoe on this list. I feel like I always include the Air Force One on lists like this, like the top 10 sneakers for summer, or top 10 most comfortable, or top 10 most popular, or whatever, because this shoe is just one of the most incredible sneakers ever made. This shoe released back in the 80s and somehow is still one of the most popular, most wearable, and most sought after sneakers available on the market today. And the triple white AF1 low is the epitome of the AF1. When you think about Air Force Ones, you think about the triple white colorway. Now the colorway that I'm holding today is actually a special edition version of the shoe. It's the Nocta collaboration or Drake's collaboration. And while it looks very similar to the original triple white Air Force Ones, it does feature some special details like the hearts on the toe and also slightly better material quality on the shoe. However, the standard Air Force One low, the triple white colorway, is relatively easy to find, at least here in the United States, and for $110, you can't really go wrong with it. Now, unfortunately, Nike did just recently raise the price of the shoe from like $90 to $110, which is a pretty large price jump when it comes to a shoe that's been $90 or close to that price point for decades. But even though that price jump sucks, I still think the shoe is absolutely worth it. And most of us growing up probably had pairs of Air Force Ones, and you know exactly what you're getting when you grab that shoe. You're getting a durable, good-looking, and easy sneaker to wear. And this shoe is also the base for a bunch of different collaborations like this one, the Tiffany collab, or even the Off-White collaboration. Even though the AF1 low is probably the oldest shoe on the list, I definitely think it has the most staying power out of any sneaker on the list, and it'll probably be around much longer than any of us are. That's a bold claim. It might be true though. Plus, if you grab the triple white colorway of the shoe, it's probably the most summery sneaker on the list. When you think of summer sneakers, you usually think of triple white shoes, and this is the most quintessential one out there. Number 7, the Nike Invincible Run 3. While all the shoes on this list are great shoes overall, the Invincible Run 3 is by far the most comfortable, at least in terms of max cushion. I did a list recently on the top 10 most comfortable sneakers of 2023, which if you guys want to check that out, there will be a link at the top of the screen, but this shoe topped the list. Now, unfortunately, for that privilege of wearing the most comfortable shoe out there, you are gonna have to pay a pretty high price point of $180. But in my opinion, if comfort is what you're looking for when it comes to your sneakers, this is a great way to go. I mean, this shoe is stupid comfortable. It does not make sense how soft the ZoomX foam is in the midsole. It literally feels like you're walking on like a cushioned cloud. It's crazy. It's not too bouncy. It's not too unstable. It's like the perfect amount of softness underneath your foot. And I'm not gonna lie, it's addicting. It can be a problem. You throw the shoe on for a day and then the next day you wear something like an Air Jordan 1 and you're like, what happened? Where did it go? And unfortunately, this has ruined a lot of shoes for me, but I've gotten used to it, so it is what it is. Not only is the Invincible 3 an incredibly comfortable shoe underfoot, it's also a decent running sneaker, especially for recovery runs. The upper of the shoe comes in Flyknit, which molds to your foot after a couple wears and is relatively breathable. And all around, this is one of those shoes that you can throw on all day and forget that you're even wearing it. In fact, you'll take them off and your feet will be less comfortable than they were in this shoe. Stylistically, it's a pretty decent looking shoe. I mean, it looks like a standard Nike running sneaker, but if you're cool with the way the sneaker looks and you're looking for comfort, this is the way to go, and you can grab a pair of these right now through the links in the description below. Number 6, the New Balance 990 V6. The New Balance 990 V6 is the 6th sneaker in the New Balance 990 line, their most popular sneaker line of all time. And it makes sense why this shoe is so popular, because not only does it look good, it also feels great on foot, and it's a great shoe that you can both go on runs in or just wear day to day. Compared to some of the previous 990 sneakers, this shoe is definitely an upgrade, not only in aesthetics but also fit. This shoe actually fits true to size, some of the previous ones didn't. Material-wise, the 990 V6 is also pretty solid. You've got some pretty premium feeling suedes and some decent meshes that do allow for some breathability on the top of your foot. And of course, when it comes to comfort, the 990 V6 is no slouch. It's got a fuel cell and end cap midsole, and you've also got this incredibly well padded upper, making this one of the more comfortable sneakers on the list. No, it's not as soft underfoot as something like the Invincible Run 3, but it's still an incredibly comfortable sneaker that will give you that great all-day comfort that you're looking for. Now, unfortunately, all of that goodness does come at a price, and the retail price of this shoe is $200 for the standard colorway. You can get some other colorways that are slightly more expensive, but we're not going to talk about those. Honestly, over the last couple months of owning the 990 V6, it's become one of the most worn sneakers in my collection. I keep it by my front door. I wear it whenever I'm going to the store or to the office or wherever. It's a great all-around sneaker. It looks good, and it just feels great on foot. Number 5, the Air Jordan 4. So the Air Jordan 4 is probably going to be the most hyped up sneaker on this list, mainly because over the last year or two, the Air Jordan 4 has become probably the most popular Air Jordan sneaker available. A few years ago, the Air Jordan 1 was the hardest Jordan to get because everyone wanted pairs of that. Now it's the Air Jordan 4. It's kind of a cyclical thing where every Jordan model eventually gets the spotlight, and in 2023, the Air Jordan 4 is the Jordan sneaker to have. Now, unfortunately, because the shoe is so popular this year, it's going to be more difficult to get this shoe than any other shoe on the list, but I do think it's worth the effort trying to grab a pair of these by entering raffles or even paying resale for this shoe because it's such a wearable, clean, classic sneaker that has a lot of sneaker history infused into it. If you didn't already know, the Air Jordan 4 is Michael Jordan's 4th signature sneaker and is one of the most classic Air Jordan models out there because of what he did in this sneaker and also because of the insane styling of this shoe that just made it one of the most iconic sneakers of all time. Not only does the Jordan 4 look good, it's also relatively comfortable on foot because of the well-padded upper. It does kind of feel like a brick though, I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty heavy shoe, so if you're wearing the sneaker, you will notice the weight on your feet. But hey, even though the shoe is designed as a basketball sneaker, it's not the kind of shoe you'll actually wear on court. You'll probably wear this as a lifestyle sneaker. Definitely wouldn't want to go on a run in this shoe, but it's a great all-around shoe if you want to wear this shoe to school or to the office or to wherever you want to go in your pair of Air Jordan 4s. Great looking sneaker and definitely worth picking up. And like I said, the Jordan 4 is going to be more difficult to get than really any other sneaker on the list, but if you have a chance to grab these for retail, like maybe you win a raffle or you get lucky and walk into a sneaker store and they just have a pair for you there, you can probably expect to pay between $200 and $210 to grab this shoe for retail. But I gotta say, even though the shoe is a bit heavier and a bit warmer than some of the other shoes on the list, because of its mid-cut, it does work really well with a pair of shorts. I mean, obviously Michael Jordan played basketball in these in shorts, so it can be done, and it's definitely one of the more summery Air Jordans out there. And man, some of the colorways the Jordan brand has dropped this year, like this colorway, the Nike SB Air Jordan 4s, are incredible. Super easy to rock and super clean. In fact, not to ruin a video coming up at the end of the year, but this shoe might genuinely be my favorite sneaker release of the year. I love this shoe that much. This particular colorway and this silhouette, it's incredible. Number 4, the Nike Dunk Low. The Nike Dunk Low is another classic Nike sneaker like the Air Force 1 Lows or the Jordan 1s or even the Air Jordan 4s that, even though it came out back in the 80s, is still incredibly popular to this day. And just to clarify, the shoe that I'm holding is actually not just a Nike Dunk Low, it's a Nike SB Dunk Low, so there are different versions of the shoe that Nike Dunk collectors will make sure to let you know of if you say the wrong thing, but realistically, any kind of Nike Dunk could be on the list at this point. It's an incredibly popular silhouette that Nike is spamming us with right now, so the good news is you shouldn't have too hard of a time finding pairs of Nike Dunks or Nike Dunk Lows in store. Just like the Air Force 1 Lows and the Jordan 1 Lows, it's an incredibly classic, clean, and simple sneaker that's very easy to rock, and when it comes to summertime, it comes in so many different colors. In fact, more so than even the Air Force 1s or the Air Jordan 1 Lows, you can pretty much find any colorway that you're looking for around retail or a little bit above. And actually, in a little bit of sneaker history, the Nike Dunks were released right after the Air Jordan 1s, and because of the popularity of the Air Jordan 1s and the fact that they look so similar, the Nike Dunks weren't very popular at the beginning. Not only that, the Nike Dunks originally released in only a high-top version of the shoe, and it wasn't until later in the sneaker's life cycle that they actually released a low-top version of the shoe. And of course, you've got the incredibly popular skateboarding version of the shoe, the Nike SB Dunk, and there are so many different versions of the Nike Dunks, it makes sense why there's this whole sneaker community of people who only focus on collecting dunks, because there are so many out there, and honestly, some of the designs on those shoes are the craziest sneakers that you can find. And so it makes sense why the Nike Dunk has such a die-hard following. In fact, back in the 2010s, the Nike Dunk was the most popular sneaker for sneakerheads, and it seems like that's the case once again in the 2020s. I think it's possible that the Nike Dunk might be the most collaborated on silhouette of all time. There are so many crazy and wild and iconic collaborations that took place on this silhouette. It's one of those shoes that every sneakerhead knows and loves. Now the good news for you is if you want to grab a pair of these, you shouldn't have too hard of a time finding them anymore because like I said, Nike is just spamming us with releases, and the retail price of a standard pair of Nike Dunk Lows is $110. But keep in mind, for the more special edition pairs like the SBs or the highs or even more premium versions of the shoe, the price point will go up a bit. Number 3, the Adidas Campus 80. So the Adidas Campus is one of their most popular suede sneakers, and recently they've had a resurgence because of the multiple collaborations that have taken place on the Campus 80 silhouette. In particular, the Bad Bunny collaboration, which I absolutely love. I think it's one of the best collaborations to drop this year, and if you're looking for an all-around excellent suede sneaker, you can't go wrong with the Campus or the Campus 80. The Adidas Campus is definitely one of the more low-key sneakers on the list. It doesn't really have a cult following the same way that the Nike Dunks do, but it's still a really great all-around sneaker, especially in its suede makeup. It's one of those iconic Adidas silhouettes. The Campus usually comes in a simple monochromatic suede makeup accented by the Adidas 3 stripes on the midfoot as well as a rubber cup sole. And it makes sense why the Campus has become such a great canvas for collaboration because it provides so much opportunity. It's such a simple and clean silhouette that you can really do a lot of things to and just make it look crazy and out there, or simple and clean. Really depends on what you want to do. In the case of Bad Bunnies, it's a pretty simple look, but it's very clean, very wearable, and it definitely has its own unique style. And although Adidas has a lot of really great and popular silhouettes out there right now, like the Forums and the Rivals, the Campus 80 I think is going to be their most popular silhouette of the year, obviously because there's no Yeezys this year, at least not that we know of yet. And I definitely think it's a little bit more low-key and a little bit more wearable than really anything else that they have. As far as price point for the Campus 80s, they range in price from $110 to $160, depending on what version of the shoe that you're getting. Number 2, the Nike Zoom Vomero 5. The Nike Zoom Vomero 5 originally released back in 2011 as a simple running sneaker. And it's crazy because it didn't have that big of an impact back in 2011. In fact, this shoe kind of faded into obscurity until 2018 when the company A Cold Wall decided to collaborate on the silhouette. It's also kind of crazy because Nike didn't just stop making Zoom Vomeros after the Zoom Vomero 5. They're actually on the Zoom Vomero 16 right now. They continue to make them every year since. But for whatever reason, the Zoom Vomero 5 has built up a cult following and re-released a couple times since 2011, and it seems like in 2013 this shoe is really taking a foothold in the sneaker market. Obviously, the shoe features that classic retro running sneaker aesthetic that I think a lot of people are into right now, and the wild and unique look of the paneling on the upper of the shoe definitely draws a lot of people in. Plus, I mean, some of the colorways that Nike has released recently, like this Varsity Maze bright yellow colorway, are definitely eye-catching, and I think people really like that. One of the things that made the Vomero 5 so popular back in 2011 and once again in 2023 is that not only does the shoe look wild, but it's also very comfortable on foot. No, it's not as comfortable as the Invincible Run 3s. It actually only features Cushlon foam and Zoom Air in the midsole, so it's a lot firmer than that shoe, but it's still an incredibly comfortable shoe to wear all day, and yet still pretty well padded upper. This is one of those shoes that you can rock all day and feel good in. Price-wise, the recently re-released Zoom Vomero 5s have come in at $160, and unfortunately, they are a little bit more difficult to get because they're such a popular silhouette, they do tend to sell out relatively quickly. But if you make sure to keep the release date of the colorway that you want in mind, you shouldn't have too hard of a time grabbing it as long as you go to the store on the day it releases. And if you guys want to hear my full thoughts on the Nike Zoom Vomero 5, make sure to check out my review by clicking the link at the top of the screen. Number 1, the New Balance 1906R. So the popularity of the 1906R kind of came out of nowhere. Over the last couple months, everyone was really loving the 2002R, but then all these 1906R collaborations dropped and the protection pack dropped, and now everyone loves this silhouette. And I hate to admit it, but I get why. You guys probably already know this, but I'm a self-proclaimed New Balance fanboy, so really anything that they drop, I'm here for, but the 1906R in particular is fire. Specifically in this colorway, the ALD colorway, I just love it. I mean, all the colorways that they've dropped so far are great. This Is Never That collaboration, the protection pack that they dropped last year, which are still available in store. You can easily grab a pair right now if you want. This shoe is incredible. And if you're a fan of the retro running sneaker aesthetic, you are going to love the 1906R. It's a super wearable, super clean, and good looking sneaker. Not only does the 1906R look great, but it's also very comfortable on foot, and it's one of those shoes that I love to travel in because it's a little understated. People aren't really gonna stare at you when you're wearing this shoe, but you still have a little bit of that hype going on. Like, people who know. It's like one of those if you know sneakers. The upper of the 1906R is inspired by classic 2000s retro running sneakers, and the midsole of the shoe is actually taken directly from the 2002R. So if you're a fan of that sneaker, you're probably gonna like the sneaker as well because it's pretty similar. Now, the thing for me that really separates this shoe from the 2002R that I actually like better about this silhouette than that silhouette is that the upper is so complex and all the different panels on the upper really make this shoe look wild, and that's what I love about this sneaker. It's a crazy looking shoe. I mean, it's definitely a dad shoe. It's definitely a retro running sneaker, and if you're not into that, you're not gonna like this shoe, and I definitely recommend grabbing something a little bit more simple like the Nike Dunk Lows or something like that, but this is one of those sneakers that if you're willing to step out in a pair of New Balances that look like this, you're gonna love. Now, pricing wise, you can expect to pay around $155 to $170 for a pair of New Balance 1906Rs, but for that price, you're getting a shoe that's very comfortable for all day wear and is super in right now. It's crazy. I'm not trying to be a New Balance hypebeast right now, but I'm kind of being a New Balance hypebeast. And while I think the collaborations that have taken place on this silhouette are excellent, and you should definitely check them out through those links in the description below, I also think the standard versions of these shoes are worth checking out if you're looking to grab the same sort of style for a cheaper price point. But that pretty much wraps things up for today. I would love to know your thoughts on this top 10 list and whether you feel like I left anything off of the list. So make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Once again, if you guys want to check out Apothecary Socks, I've made sure to leave a link in the top of the description below. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.